Today has been a bad day for technology, my friends, let me tell you. I'd recorded a little episode talking about the last two shows I went to, which I think are a bit important for the scene locally. And what ended up happening was I spilled coffee on my computer, which was great. And then I noticed my computer mouse wasn't working, which is also great. And then I saw all the levels for the episode I had recorded were completely annihilated, and so here I am. I'm just going to record this off the cuff. We're going to talk really quick. It's not going to be too much information. It's just going to be like a quick recap, just in case you weren't there, about the things going on and about things moving forward. The two shows I'm going to talk about is the second preliminary round in Calgary of the Wacken Metal Battle, which, if you don't know, is this Canada-wide contest that will send a Canadian band, an unsigned Canadian band, to Wacken in Germany to play at Wacken Open Air. You know, as far as I know, the largest metal festival in the world, which is really cool. They've been doing that for about 7 years now, and the finals this year are held in Calgary. I'm going to be as impartial as I can possibly be as a participant in this competition while I talk about round two, which I didn't play in. It's four other bands, four of my competitors, as it were. And the other one is Mosh Lotto, which is a new event that's popped up, featuring, like getting a bunch of bands out to a bar in East Calgary, which is kind of like an area with some cool venues, but not a whole lot of shows going on. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Wacken Metal Battle, and there were the four bands that were playing there. There was Burning Effigy, my old band. There was a band called Balragath and Subsume, both of which I'd never heard of before, and Siren, who I'm a little bit familiar with. Burning Effigy, they started off, and I got there just as they were finishing up their first song. They were playing a bunch of songs that they'd written before their guitarist left, and they were just playing with one guitar, and all of those songs are meant to be played with two guitars, so there was a bit lacking in the body of the song. Like if you're familiar with orchestral music, or if you were ever in a high school band, you know that there's like first trumpet and second trumpet, for example, and they played slightly different things that overlap with each other and that create the full sound. And so unfortunately, for the songs they were playing, on the most part, they were missing that other guitar, and it just didn't come out as well as it is written to be, in my opinion. But to end off the night, they finished with a new song that they had released just like after their guitarist left, and it's very obviously written for the lineup they have right now, where there's just the one guitar and the one bassist, and that actually was really cool. Like, it was a really good song. It was a completely new direction for their music, and I am looking forward to hearing more things out of them in that kind of style. Next up was Subsume was playing next. And Subsume's not really for me, to be honest. Like, they're not really my kind of music. They're a little too light for my liking, but their music was like interesting. They had some cool tapping guitar going on. They had clean parts. They had scream singing parts. And the guy has, like, when he sings clean, he has like a really gentle voice, which completely offsets the really like brutal, like kind of like almost like black metal sounding kind of scream the guy has. That was like it was really nasty sounding, and it was great. But no, I just wasn't a huge fan of them. But they definitely were the tightest band of the night, in my opinion. They played like spot on. Like, I did not hear like anything that even sounded slightly off. It was a great performance on their part. Then there was Siren, which actually ended up winning that night. If you ask me, like, all of the members in the band, they play really well, but the sound is definitely carried by their singer, who's this woman who has like a very powerful operatic kind of voice, like really, like she sings like high up, she sings really low down, and the performance was great. Like, I'm friends with a couple people in that band, and I know the drummer in particular. He's also in another band that played on the next show I'm going to talk about, and the guy's work is always real quality. The last guys were Balragath, and Balragath I'd never heard of before, like, looking into the show, and I always do research on unknown bands that are unknown to me before going to any show. I look up and see if they have any music up, any social media presence. The only thing I could find were some old YouTube videos of performances, and to be honest, they didn't really didn't really grab me. Like there was nothing there for me. I didn't really enjoy it. But when I got there and I saw them play, they must have kicked it up like 15 notches because it was a great performance on their part. And I definitely actually want to play songs with those guys. I know they're on the Decimate Metal Festival coming up in this year, which says I don't really know anything about it, but on the Facebook page I'm looking at right now, it says that it's on the 5th of July at the County Line Saloon, which will be pretty cool. I think I've only ever heard of Decimate. I don't know anything about it, so I'll probably look into that and talk about it again another time. But they also told me that they're working on some new material. So if you like kind of folky death metal, that's like Ensiferum, reminds me of Ensiferum, then you'll like Balragath for sure. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Mosh Lotto, which is it seems to me to be kind of an answer, like a more metal answer to an event that exists right now, which is Rockin' for Dollars. Rockin' for Dollars is kind of like a pseudo open mic kind of deal, which is a bunch of bands come on, they play really short sets. You sign up in advance, and there's some prizes you can win. Mosh Lotto's like that too, where they have a cash prize, and they draw ticket stubs out of one of those little tumblers, and then someone walks out with the money. And they're getting a bunch of bands signed up in advance. And last Friday, the February 22nd, and we had a bunch of bands. You had thrash bands, you had some metalcore bands, you had some punky bands, you had a doom metal band, you had a grind. You had like a bunch of interesting stuff. There's a guy who brought out this big keyboard and did some cool synths for his project. I'm not going to get too much into the individual ones because there was like quite a few lineup. There was like 10 bands on that night, all playing like half-hour sets. It's a great bar too, the County Line Saloon. It's in East Calgary, right? Which doesn't get a whole lot of traffic for like local music, unfortunately. Like it's supposed to be a country bar, but it worked really well for like the metal show. It's tiered. It's got 3 layers. Like you got the floor in front of the stage, and then there's a second layer with some tables, and the third layer with more tables, and you got pool and darts and whatnot. You can see the stage from everywhere in the bar, which is pretty unique in the among the venues that I've been to in the city. It was run by a company called Major Minor, which is this guy Graham McKenzie, who puts on shows, and he wants to do more emphasis in that end of town because it's a bit dry. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I think he sees that opportunity. Working with him is my personal favorite promoter in the city, a guy named Scott. Scott is also the guitarist in a band called Widow's Peak, and he does a great job. That he is like the most hardworking, enthusiastic promoter I've met in the city. And if you want to get on some good shows, if you're listening to this, if you're in a band, look up Scott Cressman. Look up Tooth and Nail Productions. I think it is. It's either Productions or Promotions, but it's Tooth and Nail, and you'll be able to find him. And that's like that. He's a great guy to know. He's a great guy to talk to. He's such a nice guy, and he's so enthusiastic. So yeah, no, get at him. I think this, but just on to get back to what I was talking about, I think this Mosh Lotto thing is going to be a great thing. It's going to be once a month. The next one, if I remember, let's see, the next one is March 29th at the County Line Saloon. Again, I'm imagining you can message Graham McKenzie if you want to be on that. It's going to be good. I think there's some good stuff going to be coming out of that, and I'm excited to see where it goes for sure. Originally I had a better little episode planned for this, but like technical difficulties, a tidal wave of coffee across my computer's keyboard. I would have, next time I talk about shows, I would like someone else to come on to with me, perhaps. We can talk about them together, form a dialogue about it, and record it a little closer to the date of the event itself. Also, I would like to hear from you, the listener. If you're going to shows, tell me about the shows. Talk to them about it. I want to hear about shows that I've never been to. I want to hear about shows in places I don't live. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me a message, and I'm sure we can work something out. Like you could send me something you record. Maybe we could do a call on Skype or something, and we can talk to each other, and it'll be a great time. Anyway, I'd also like to have like a musical number prepared to play us out of here, but I don't have anything like that prepared today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish this off with something I recorded like 5 years ago in my university dorm room, just noodling, doing some black metal stuff back before I started being terrible at the guitar. Um, yeah, this doesn't really have a name. It's not really from anything. It doesn't have a project attached to it. So here's some just random instrumental black metal song with with some electric drums from a university dorm across the country. I'll see you guys for episode 3 of The Bog. You take care now.